Epstein files were released last week by the Democratic Party, and it turns out that Elon Musk had a trip planned to Epstein's island. Also, Steve Bannon had a meeting with Epstein after Epstein's 2008 conviction, as did the head of Microsoft, Bill Gates. So we're going to jump into that right here. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you like and subscribe. We are live every Tuesday at 6 p.m. The House Oversight Committee released portions of a third of records related to Jeffrey Epstein. This included over 8,544 different documents that were made between 2010 and 2019. Entries show that Epstein maintained in contact with high-profile individuals years after his 2008 conviction, with the schedules noting a tentative 2014 breakfast with Bill Gates. So again, that is 6 years after Jeffrey Epstein was convicted of, I believe at the time it was procuring an underage victim for sex. I forget the actual term. Does anybody here remember the actual charges for 2008?
Minor procurement or something?
Okay, so just more guessing. That doesn't help. No, I was looking for the actual term, but that's fine. I've got 18 computers, 70
Basically,
documents.
They knew he was a pedophile already.
Yeah, so they knew that Jeffrey Epstein had clearly been convicted, and yet Bill Gates still wanting French toast with a convicted sex trafficker at the time. But Bill Gates isn't the only one that was implicated in these documents. There was a reported meeting. Whether or not that meeting took place, now according to Elon Musk, it did not happen, but according to Jeffrey Epstein's schedule, Musk was to be traveling to the island sometime around 2014. A December 6, 2014 reminder about Elon Musk traveling to Epstein's island. It had a note with it, "Is this happening?" There was also a 2017 lunch with Peter Thiel and a February 16, 2019 breakfast with Steve Bannon. So while we know very little about the Epstein files, one thing we do know, Jeffrey Epstein loved breakfast because he's holding court with some of the most powerful people in the world over French toast after being convicted of being a pervert. Guys, what are your thoughts about Jeffrey Epstein, Elon Musk being in the in the Epstein files, Steve Bannon, Bill Gates, and others?
Just to clear, he got charged with conspiracy to entice minors, enticing minors to travel, conspiracy to transport minors with intent to engage in criminal sexual activity, transporting a minor for intent to engage in criminal sexual activity, conspiracy to commit sex trafficking, and sex trafficking from
Charged or convicted?
Indicted.
Indicted. So that means that he was found responsible.
No, the indictment was brought against him. He was charged. That doesn't necessarily say he was convicted of those, but he
was he actually
was known to
convicted
be.
That's the most important part. Can anybody find what he was actually convicted of? Because we can sit here and say, hey, people are charged all the time with things, but there were actual charges that Jeffrey Epstein had to account for. He was given that sweetheart deal by Alexander Acosta, who Alexander Acosta testified behind closed-door testimony 2 weeks ago, in which he couldn't accurately explain why he gave him a sweetheart deal.
Jeffrey Epstein was convicted in 2008 for soliciting prostitution from a minor and received a controversial plea deal that resulted in a 13-month prison sentence. He was arrested again in 2019 in federal charges, but died in custody, yada, yada, yada. So it was soliciting prostitution from a minor.
Okay.
Was the
That's the guy that Bill Gates had breakfast with. That's the guy that Peter Thiel had breakfast with. That's the guy that Prince Andrew continued to associate with. That's the guy that Ehud Barak, the former prime minister of Israel, continued to engage with. You've seen photos of them at Epstein's Manhattan townhouse after the 2008 conviction. And that is a guy who Elon Musk reportedly planned a trip to go to his island. Again, prostitution of a minor is what he was convicted on, and these guys are all having French toast and breakfast treats with a pedophile.
You know where I'm at? I'm gonna be honest with you guys. It might surprise you, but I don't care. I don't care anymore. Like, I think it's much
Wonderful. The
more.
more you hear. Seriously,
no,
you know
like,
the topics we're gonna cover.
No, I'm saying in terms of that and all the crazy. I'm saying, like, I think it's better for people to focus on opportunities in the world rather than problems. After knowing where our government stands with these things, like we finally got a cool government in that we thought was cool and on our side, and they show no interest in the Epstein stuff. They show no interest in finding out who killed Kirk. They show no interest in finding out who tried to kill Trump. So clearly there's something terribly wrong. There's a powerful force that's keeping them from being transparent with us. So why are we going to bang our heads against the wall? And like, I think that's the the question to ask ourselves.
Because these people should be shamed, mocked, ridiculed. If you're associating with a guy that was convicted of sex trafficking or procuring a minor for prostitution purposes, you have to account for that. For us to just continue, like the fact that Trump has Bill Gates inside of the White House for Oval Office meetings after this information becomes public to everybody, it blows my mind.
I will keep banging my head against the wall until like it's unbelievable. Like we have these files here now. To be fair, I think why they're being so careful with this. For example, I want to take Steve Bannon out of this because there's reports that he was working on a documentary. There's tapes he was having conversations with him on a documentary style.
Well, and on that, Steve Bannon said that he was hired for media training. So he was So I don't know if media training a pedophile to reshape his image is really the best argument to make for Steve Bannon.
But at the same time, to address what Humberto is saying here, this is why the notion of like the Epstein files needs a little bit of clarification even for us who discuss it, because there are all sorts of names listed in documents pertaining to Jeffrey Epstein. What we're not interested in is knowing anyone he might have said hi to on a street in New York at one point. We're looking for the people he did business with, specifically the people on his planes, the people on the island, and whatever list allegedly exists of who he trafficked young girls to. So Elon Musk is listed in the Epstein files with a possible invitation to the island that Musk has now come out and said never happened. Other people like Steve Bannon listed for lunch. Peter Thiel listed as having lunch. And this is where having some clarity on what it is we're looking for when we want names out of these files, because you got people who didn't do anything, which is like Trump, like Musk, like some of these other people listed in there, and then people who definitely did stuff, Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew, people who have had actual accusations brought against them. So I also think we have to look at the fact that this was disclosed by the Democrats in the House Oversight Committee, because after Trump and Pam Bondi and Kash Patel and Dan Bongino bungled all this stuff with the disclosures of the Epstein files, it suddenly became okay for Democrats to start talking about Jeffrey Epstein again, where now that they think they can get Trump with it, all the Democrats are on board with digging into Epstein, and the Republicans are stonewalling for some reason.
Well, they know there's no shot in hell that's gonna get released, so it just gives them some clout to say that they want to be released.
Exactly.
Just like
so
the lawyer guy, the creepy lawyer who was saying that he wanted to be released. Dershowitz, Dershowitz knows it's not going to be released.
Look at the names they disclosed. The Democrats got these files. This isn't the official release. These files are supposed to come out. The Democrats released them ahead of time, and they picked 3 names: Steve Bannon, Peter Thiel, Elon Musk. All of those are Republican or Republican-aligned individuals. You take out Peter Thiel, we talk about Peter Thiel all the time for the things that are creepy about him, the things that, Palantir might have going on, its connections to J.D. Vance. But he is a right-oriented individual who, has his interests with the Republican Party right now. So if they take out Peter Thiel, if they take out Elon Musk, if they knock Steve Bannon, they seized on those opportunities to disclose this. So bear in mind, even as we're having this conversation, this is information given to us by the Democrats, and we don't trust them any more than we did before this.
I'd prefer Democrats give us information than Republicans continue to stonewall it.
Certainly.
How about they vote for it to not be released at all the day Charlie Kirk got killed?
What do you mean?
Yeah, I
You
mean,
didn't hear about that?
That was convenient timing. There on the same day Charlie got shot, there was a vote where
not release anything.
where the Republicans had the majority to block disclosure of the Epstein files. I believe that was Thomas Massey's bill that he introduced.
This is beyond me. I do not understand. How is this a partisan thing? How are we cherry picking? There's real victims out there. What are we doing? I don't understand. It doesn't.
Clearly, the people who don't want it to come out are much more powerful than the people who have the power to let it come out.
Pretty much. I mean, and so there, Brendan, I understand your frustration of these people have exposed who they are. We know what their deal is now. We know we're not getting the truth. We can't trust them. In a way, maybe we do move on with stuff, but we still need to keep banging against that wall and making noise about it so that maybe one day we can finally get an answer here.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what I'm saying is that I think everybody who's upset about it needs to put the energy that they have towards complaining about, towards putting themselves in a position of power to do something about it. Like whether it's like getting yourself rich or getting yourself some political power, rather than just complaining and hosting all day. I think that's like a inefficient use of energy when you're mad about stuff like this.
So if you like this clip, click right here. And if you want to see more like it, click right here. Stay angry, Patriots.